Hello, hello, and welcome back after a long hiatus to the 21st episode of The Treasure Rats. It is a joy to be back, and playing with me today, you might note I do not have Josh. Unfortunately, during this break, he is still alive and kicking, but his character is departing the campaign. Josh is dropping from the Treasure Rats due to real-life commitments. But replacing him, we have Jamal, which I'm sure is an equal disappointment to everyone. Welcome along, Jamal. It's a pleasure to have you with us. Jamal, of course, was co-DMing prior to this moment. He does have a couple of little insights into some things that happen in this world, but as we all know, Treasure Rats is much more about the fun we have along the way than where we're actually trying to get. So today I have playing with me Joe.
That one is me. I'm Joe, and I play Bellows, who is a Steam Genasi Path of the rebranded as Elemental Totems Barbarian.
I have Miago.
Hey, I'm playing Arkorigos. He is a Mind Flayer wizard with a Artificer dip.
And I have Rico.
I am Rico, and I am playing Elmore King, the Awakened Undead Skeleton Outlaw Rogue, who is also a very glamorous bard.
I'm sure the overlay gives some things away, but nevertheless, Jamal, I will ask you to hold on to the information on your character until we meet them. When we last left off, your group were collecting wondrous things from Newton. I believe, on behalf of Cleo Kirkland, you were delivering a very important message, which she had been asked to convey to the town of Newton. That's very quiet. There we go. Yes, the town of Newton is not really a town. It's the biggest city in the whole of Xandros. It's absolutely huge, and it has a vast undercity where there are many, many factories, amongst other things. Above ground, it's sort of the most advanced technologically, using lots of slave labor's pushing it. AI labor, I guess is the right phrase. Using robot-assisted labor, many, many things in Newton are automated, allowing for vaster buildings, greater landscapes, mini carts, mini ships. It is the only city where airships travel from place to place within the city. Very much like that one city in Star Wars that I don't know the name of, and I've only seen very briefly, where there's like a airship chase thing, a car chase thing.
Cloud City?
It might be,
Coruscant?
I don't know. It wouldn't
Coruscant,
matter
maybe,
what it
yeah,
is, but I know that Obi-Wan Kenobi and that other dude have a chase in it. Yeah.
Coruscant.
Coruscant.
My vast Star Wars knowledge. Anyway, it's a little like that in that there's lots of traffic in the air consistently. And it's kind of madness here, really. It is the place to be, it's the place to be seen, and it's the place to be rich. It sure as hell is not the place to be poor. There's plenty of poverty and, almost slave labor in the factories. Never mind, though, because the Treasure Rats haven't stopped by for any of that. They've dashed through the glitz and the glamour of the city, shopping and purchasing what they need while they wait for Cleo to deliver her message. It's a brief stay, and we're going to skip past it and get straight back on the ship, returning to Arrenus, as Cleo wants to get the results of the message back immediately to Arrenus, after which you'll be free to resume your normal duties. As you're piling onto the ship, as you do, you have two passengers who you have had once before. You might remember these from episode 1, I think, maybe, who are Brancus and Naxilian.
Yeah.
Brancus is a member of the Enclave. He is the protector of Naxilian, and he has sworn to Naxilian's service. He's sort of stoic, elven, although with really round ears in the picture. Preservation cleric. And Naxilian is, like most archivists, a self-important, egotistical, studying guy. If you remember, he was brought down a few notches when he got scared when the ship took off, much to everybody's amusement. These two are being brought from Newton back to Arrenus. Cleo has offered to lend them a ride, and as such, they hop on board. You hop on board, we hop on board, back to the Scarlet Rose. just a little couple of recaps on the Scarlet Rose. I'm going to have to do so much talking in the first 10 minutes of this session. Just a reminder, you had some really cool like steel plates put in that allowed the ship to sort of reflect some magic and genuinely improving its what do you call it? Its viability, its safety. Yeah, those
Durability?
Durability, that's the word I was looking for. Thank you. But yeah, you're able to all get back on the ship, and since those changes were made, it has resulted in, instead of you guys sort of launching in, and it was fairly dramatic when you launched into the air, it now thunders into the air. So the power is built up through these heavy steel plates. They store lightning over time, but there's a reason why airships never touch the ground, right? If they ever let all the power out of them, it takes a huge amount of magic to get them back up in the air. So as Cleo focuses the thunderbolts and lightning, very, very frightening, into the metal, the ship sort of shudders, and whoosh, off it sort of launches into the sky at 1,000,000 billion miles an hour. As you are launching into the air, Felix is sort of pacing up and down quite nervously. If you remember, he has recently been having visions of the possibility of this ship crashing. And every time he takes off, he is more and more determined it's going to be this time. To which Cleo is slightly annoyed about, if she's honest. Yeah, as the ship launches off, what are we doing? Where are we? What's our posts for takeoff usually?
Almor is probably up on deck, playing his boomcaster. I think he's sort of been experimenting, influenced by the rattling of this ship and its newfound power. He's working on some riffage and chordage on his guitar that'll allow him to cast the cantrip Thunderclap.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, maybe Thunderclap.
So he's just up there, and he's just like trying to like wail at it until like he gets some sort of like waves that like.
Mm-hmm.
Sound waves that push off.
Cleo sort of looks at you and, oh yes, that's exactly what we need, more thunder. What's Arrenus up to?
He's going to be up toward the prow. He just likes flying, likes going through the clouds. But just kind of standing there in his own thoughts, just enjoying the ride. He thinks it's fun.
Cool. And Bellows, as the ship launches into the air.
Yeah, I mean, typically, he's along the very, very edge, leaning dangerously over, and wherever the sort of isn't it like rings of lightning?
Yeah.
Yeah, wherever those sort of sort of the plane where those are, almost as though he wants to reach out and kind of get a hold of those. Right, that ring. So he's adjacent to the ring at the very, very edge of the ship, sort of hanging off, letting the wind whip away his wispy hair and beard of steam, and looks kind of like a crazy bald version of himself as the wind rushes past him.
Nice. And you sort of whoosh up into the air, and Naxilian is nowhere to be seen. He is below decks somewhere, desperately trying to sort of recuperate himself. He hates flying, as you all well know. Brancus doesn't, though. He's sort of marching about up top. Do we have a token for Brancus? No, we don't. Okay, cool, that's fine. Cleo sort of stands out near the front, and Navi is sort of nervously hovering behind her shoulder. Felix has told Navi that basically Cleo and everybody else is going to die. So Navi's on hand to revivify if necessary. Because clearly that's the plan. Up on deck with you guys, you will have most of the crewmates. Lorelei is below deck. But other than that, you've got Brandy sort of pacing about. Yacht is on the wheel as usual. Don't know what this dude's doing or how he managed to get himself on board. Or that dude, to be honest. There's werewolves everywhere. C4 and Sethi are probably below decks doing fixie things. But the rest of you, you're sort of pacing up and down. The ship makes good time, and you are already sort of an hour or two into the air. You're already beginning to arrive near Laketon. I think It's going to do the map changey thing, but whatever. No, that's fine. It loves a music change. We'll get there eventually. So as you're sort of making good time from Newton, you approach Leighton. And as you look down, the lake is as ever. I mean, when you go over Leighton, Cleo always brings the ship down slightly, just so you guys can see Leighton. It's quite an amazing place. It's like a huge city in the center of a lake. It literally is built into the lake, with pylons going down almost a mile into the ground below the lake. That's the city of the Aboleths, and around it are these sort of endless tidal waves sort of coming out from the city, which generate all the power that powers the city. It's a spectacle from above, and even Nexilian will sort of bring himself above decks and have a little look. And as you fly on past the ship, you begin to near the crevasse, or the crevice, as we call it more commonly. Every time you go over the crevice, it's quite dramatic, and it's quite frightening, to be honest. Basically, this is a huge rift through the center of the world, which leads all the way down into the plane of fire. It goes down into the core of the very world itself. And what this does is toss up sort of thunder clouds and storm clouds. A lot of power is generated to the ship at this time. So the ship moves very fast, but at the same time, it often struggles to keep itself quite balanced. And as you enter into this, into the sort of black roiling clouds above the crevice this time round, Cleo bellows out for all hands on deck.
What's the problem, Captain?
I'm not quite sure I know. I don't seem to be able to gain focus right now. I'm struggling to control the ship. It's trembling. Need all the hatches battened down, strap yourselves in. See what you can do to lend any assistance if you are magically inclined. But otherwise, I would suggest getting to the crew's quarters, strapping yourselves in there. And Brandy will do so. She tells Yacht not to bother manning the wheel, as there is nothing that anyone can do but her anyway in this situation. And Yacht will duly go below decks. She also calls for Nabrak to go to the engine room and do what he can to keep the engines from overheating. If there is anything that he can do, he will. Felix is very helpfully informing you all that this is it. This is where you all die. Super helpful. She will remind you that in the crew's quarters, there is a hatch that leads out of the ship. So should things be going drastically wrong, the call will be made to abandon ship, and you will be expected to leap out and get down to the ground your own way. I believe everybody other than Navi has that capacity, so if somebody would kindly featherfall him on the way down, we'd really appreciate it. Should you have to abandon ship. But everybody else is perfectly capable of doing so themselves. Navi resolutely is determined that they will stay floating next to Cleo. So she punches him in the forehead, knocking him unconscious, and hands him to Bellows.
Now you've made it so I have to go below decks. I was going to stay here and make sure you land okay.
You can put him downstairs and come back if you must. I'd just rather not have anyone talk to me right now.
I suppose I'm fast enough for that.
But yeah, she's basically saying lob him somewhere below decks. Because he's annoying. Yeah, with that, you can all feel this ship sort of trembling and shuddering. What you can see is absolutely nothing. Thick black clouds roil around everywhere. Is anyone capable of deheating the engines? Does anybody have that sort of ability? They're overcharging.
I could play them a sweet tune.
Right?
But I could not deheat them.
They might be grateful, but I don't think it'll do anything.
Quite the opposite, actually.
I mean, if any actual flame erupts, I can control flame and extinguish those bits of flame that erupt.
Mm-hmm. Though you would know that, of course, the little robot dudes are also capable of doing so. Sure. So yeah, nobody has any active cold spells, is what we're getting at. Okay, cool. Well, if the engines explode, you'll have a broken ship. That's all that happens there. Yeah, at this point, there is no doubt that the ship is slowly beginning to move downwards. It's not crashing at the moment. It's just descending gently, I think, is the right phrase. Yeah. Cleo is seemingly in pain.
Captain, please don't prove Felix right.
I think he might be right. Something is fighting my magic. I don't know what.
Well, then stop straining yourself and let's do this the fun way.
My ship is very valuable, fellows. I don't intend to go down without trying to keep it up.
As valuable as us.
You may jump if you wish, but I will inform you before we crash when it is good to do so. At this point, you can see she's not really very fearful for her life or for anyone else's. Despite Felix's assurances, she's pretty sure that she's not just going to randomly explode. And therefore, she believes that she can guide this ship at least somewhat gently down to the ground. Speaking of the ground, you have now broken through the black clouds, and the sights before you were quite scary, because what you have is the edge of the crevice, and you are not over it yet. So it's this sort of lip, and you are currently over a huge, massive river of lava. A great black cliff face approaches you, and you are currently above it, but it's unsure whether the ship is going to land above it or crash into the wall. That, it seems, is what Cleo is trying to fight. Just over the lip of this cliff is some forest. It's rife woodland, with these sort of huge rainforesty tree canopies. I don't think any of you have been to ground quite here, so probably don't know exactly what might be present. But as the ship sort of stutters on downwards, you can see that Cleo is sort of fighting, and her magic sort of lifts the ship, and then it sinks back down again, and she lifts the ship up, and then it sinks. And with one sort of almost last gasp, she summons what appears to be a giant air elemental with a ring of hers, and it sort of puts the ship on its shoulder and tries to hold it up. As the ship comes in, she sort of says, "Wait till the last moment before you jump! We're going to make it over the cliff, but we're going to crash afterwards." And she realizes that, as stated, you are going to make it over the edge of the cliff, but immediately afterwards are likely to crash into the ground. So she sort of, this air elemental lifts right up, and its feet graze the cliff edge. And it's at that point that she tells you to jump ship, and she does so herself. So she sort of runs to the side. She, however, doesn't jump off the ship. She seems to be floating on some sort of platform, just hanging off the ship with her hand sort of behind it, holding one of the guide ropes. She's determined to land where her ship lands. But to the rest of you, it's a free jump. Is the plan just to leap?
Yeah, I mean, I'll sort of aggressively, base jumper style, guide myself towards as many other people as possible so I can get 5 others in my featherfall. Or 4 others plus myself.
Okay. You see Yacht activate something on his boots and begin to fly through the air at a glacial pace. Brandy seems to have some sort of bat wings. She's got a cloak on that allows her to fly. Lorelei is standing on an air platform holding onto Cleo's hand as they go down. And Nabrak seems to have just vanished. Both robots vanished with him. You can assume that he has dimension doored somewhere. But as for where, you have no idea. And as the ship sort of comes down and crashes through the very tops of the trees, you see it go before you as you leap out to the ground. You come to ground in a sort of clearing, really. Oh, look, there you are. That's nice. You had a fight here once.
Oh.
It's not the same place, I'm afraid to tell you. And these people are not with you. You arrive to ground. The 3 of you, Yacht, comes to the ground with you. I don't know why I don't seem to have any tokens for Yacht. Okay, well, I had a token a minute ago, but I don't have it now. Jod is with you, and other than that, it's just the three of you.
Elmer's sort of just like pulling like his legs and like whatever back together. I'm sure he had a bit of a disassemble, hitting the ground rather hard.
All your bones.
Yeah. Where the fuck are we?
Good question.
Well, yeah, so Rift. So yeah, I guess. Quite surprised that Felix was right. Well, good for him.
Yeah, Felix. There's no signs of Felix.
Where is that little twerp anyway?
Jod sort of turns to you and I think that Nabrak took him through the dimension door. Nabrak said there was a scavenger town nearby. He could see it. And he went there.
So, did he mention the direction of this scavenger town?
No, we didn't have much of a conversation before jumping out of an airship, if I'm being honest.
Well,
My mistake.
That's because
Shall
we
we
jumped
try-
when we were too close to the ground. If you jump when you're up higher, there's plenty of time for talk on the way down.
I think that the idea was that if we jumped any earlier, we went into the lava pit. Not great.
I suppose.
I thought. Anyway. However, as the three of you are there, we will leave you there, and we will instead visit the great Jamal. Recently, you've come on some hard times, have you not, Mr. Jamal?
Very much so. Forced into basically running into the wilderness and looking and feeling very disheveled and rough and not the best for wear at this moment.
Nevertheless, you sort of made your living for the last couple of days at this scavenger township. Now, to remind you, the scavenger townships are sort of built into the wilderness. They are not towns. They don't have the protections of the big cities. So they are very much at the will and whim of the wilderness. The folk there are often very strange and often quite powerful and very mistrusting of strangers. Nevertheless, people don't tend to pick many fights with werewolves. So they've let you get some food and some water and some refreshment. But today you have seen an airship cascading over the top of your township, crashing down slightly to the north. It looked like it crashed near the river. And then as you were walking to the local, sort of, we can't really call it a tavern, it's like a food stall, I guess, that serves some really frightening distilled beverages that are incredibly alcoholic and not very anything else. This gnome, is he a gnome? I think he's a gnome. He's a gnome now. Has teleported out of nowhere.
Yeah.
He's a rock gnome, I'm pretty sure.
He's a gnome.
This dude is definitely a gnome. With two robots and a unconscious red tiefling. Just appear in the middle of the street, right in front of you, out of a blue door. Sort of almost to the point that you bump into them.
God.
Feel free to engage them. Otherwise, you're not going to be in this campaign.
What on earth was that? How did you do that?
We have used the dimension door. I'm not very practiced, but it seems that we have arrived on the Earth. That is good. Hello, I am Nabrak. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. Do you own this town?
I don't. I'm just a guest here, but my name's Fenris.
Me too. Great. This is Sethi. He is very clever in not many ways. And this is C4. He is very clever in lots of ways. And he introduces you to the two robots. And then he points to the unconscious tiefling on the floor. That is Felix. He told us we were going to die, but he is wrong. We did not die. We just crashed.
What happened to him?
He bumped his head on the wood of the ship. We were on the airship that crashed. I don't suppose you saw where it came down, did you?
I was just about to head out towards it, yeah.
Very good. Perhaps you can lead the way.
Can you keep pace? I move quickly.
Then move slower. Or carry my friend. Thank you. And he pats you on
Sure.
the back.
Let's see if I can do something about that, shall I? Let's see. Does a quick healing touch bring him back from
Healing
unconsciousness? Or
Who dat?
I guess it's more so healing word, but yeah.
Yeah, you can word of healing him or healing word him. Nothing seems to happen. He is completely unconscious. He looks like he's concussed. He'll come round in an hour or so. I don't like playing on people's characters.
No, that's totally fair.
That's where I'm at on that.
I'll just make sure he's appropriately treated.
If you want to drag the rope instead, I can put him on a floating disc.
It's okay. I can carry him. I'll just at this point I'll transform into a true hybrid form. Use my strength to just lift him on my shoulder and carry him.
Just a reminder, Jamal, that as a werewolf in Xandros, you are permanently in the hybrid state.
All right. Okay.
There is no human version, so you can go full feral. But you are permanently hybrid.
Yeah, in that case, full feral, I probably wouldn't be able to carry him in that form.
You might also eat him, so yeah, I'd stay hybrid.
Yeah, not the best of ideas, no.
Well, you just saw it go, yes, up to the north. You said you pointed in that direction.
Yeah. Let's get moving quickly. I don't know how many injured they're going to be.
I am worried for my friends too. Come on. The two robots begin this sort of inane chatter to and forth about whether people are alive or not and what they can do about it, but it's a totally pointless conversation we don't need to listen to. And it isn't long before you come across a mind flayer, an orc, a steam genasi, and a skeleton with a guitar, sort of next to a river.
I'll turn to our new companion. Are these people with you?
Corivos! Bellows! Your tunnel!
Cavalry's here.
See,
I would not call us that. Felix is unconscious. He hit his head before we even left the ship.
Serves him right.
He was too busy running around telling everybody we're going to die. And then he walked into a beam, and that was the end of him.
I think he does see the future. He knew how boring this was going to be, and he just decided to check out.
Have you found the captain?
we have not begun to look yet.
Haven't really been looking or anything like that.
This dog says that it is up the river.
Hello, friend. Pleased to make your acquaintance.
Good to meet you guys. Name's Fenris. You got any wounded?
We are all doing well.
I should have mentioned that Navi also arrived with you, so should you have any wounded, which you don't, that little midget can do some healing. Oh.
But Felix, how is he doing? It would be a shame if that brain went to waste.
If I happen to hazard a guess, I'll take a look at him and give him a quick once over.
Navi will use diagnose and just go, he is unconscious, but he will come back at some point, unfortunately.
Very well.
Well, I mean, it's fortunately for everybody else, but it's unfortunate for Arrenus who wanted the brain at some point.
Just about.
Shall we look for the captain?
I suppose.
Do you? Didn't he die and come back to life? You said he would be delicious, but he died and came back to life. Doesn't sound like a good start to a meal.
I have not ever eaten anything like that before. And to see the future, his brain must have some unique qualities.
Should I call in Josh and ask him if he's
Either way.
willing to be a meal?
Let us be on our way. That's how his character exits the campaign.
Just gets a very
no, he specifically said to me, I don't want to be dead. I said, okay, fine. You won't be dead. But yeah, you are able to head to the north.
Alright.
And at this point, we're just going to Theatre of Minded because I looked for crashed airship arts, and they don't exist. Everybody who paints an airship paints it in the sky, idiots. Nevertheless, you come upon the wreckage of the ship, and it's not actually that wrecked, if we're being honest. There is the minor issue that it is currently suspended about 8 foot in the air between two trees. There is no lightning around it. and it's slightly tilted forwards, and one of the sails seems to have a tree branch through it. But other than that, it seems pretty intact.
The old girl held up well.
It's yours then?
Depends on if we find the captain alive or not.
Too shy.
Suppose you could say not ours yet.
That's one way to look at things. So,
Well, the captain is a rather dashing elven girl, blue hair, cropped.
all right, I'll keep an eye out then. What I'll do in the meantime, I'll start charging round one of the sides, searching, seeing if there's any injured, wounded.
fly?
I could fly. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just saying, like, the ship is
but-
suspended 8 foot in the air, so you can look on the
I
ground
actually
around.
can. I've got the eagle whistle, right?
Yeah, you
so-
can blow a whistle and go up.
Yeah. I'll just blow my eagle whistle, and start ascending up towards the ship. And
I love the
seeing
idea that all four of you just stand and toot and rise slowly.
I've got the spider climbing feat, so I will just run up a tree and then into the
Cool.
ship.
Yeah, immediately you will see a beautiful sight. Naxilian is hanging from the mast. He looks to be pierced completely through by a tree branch through the chest. He's got one
God.
hand on the mast. There's a brief sort of sign that he was levitating at some point as the magic is sort of drifting off to the left. His floating disc.
Ooh,
For
that's
some
grisly.
odd reason, he decided to stay with the ship in the air.
Lack of faith.
Something like that. Yeah, that's it. You don't see any other survivors on this ship. Though with you do see a sort of guide rope severed, close to the. It looks like somebody's cut it with a sword, and you do remember seeing Lorelei and Cleo holding on to a guide rope and floating off the boat. Ship, same thing. So it looks like they cut it.
Yeah.
I guess we'll just get as high as possible and scan the area around and look for her, and also, I suppose, as much as Bellows cares, yell for her.
Okay. You do see sort of 20 foot to your right as you go up, or maybe 30 or 40 feet, a small crater at the center of which is Brancus. He's in full superhero pose. He's landed on one knee, his shield down. He looks very much alive, but a little dazed. And he sort of looks over to you and... Oh, you made it. Good. Good.
Good to see you, Brancus.
Stands up. You too. I had to leave my jump rather late.
Well, that's quite all right. You made it.
Quite exciting. I think that my... what do you call them? My ward, that's the one. I think my ward has expired. And he points towards the ship, and I told him to jump with me, but he said that he would be absolutely fine on his own. Arrogant prick.
Wish I could say it was a shame.
We travelled together a long time.
We'll have a drink to him one day.
I don't drink.
All right, then.
That's his only response. But yes, Bellows, you're still in the air, I'm assuming.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I'm just at the tippy top of the mast or whatever.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
can
from the
obviously have the whistle thing too, but
crow's
it's-
nest
I mean,
as such, you are able to see sort of 60, 70 feet further in the forest in a little bit of a clearing, Lorelei crouched over something. You would assume it to be Cleo.
This way, folks, and I'll just run back down and run in that direction at full Bellowsy speed.
Cool. Bellows arrives on the ground, says, "This way, folks," and it's almost like the noise peels off as he
Full
tears
Doppler
off to the top. And indeed, you do find Lorelei crouched over what appears to be an unconscious but breathing Cleo. She doesn't appear to have any physical wounds at all. Either of them. And Lorelei will turn to you and... Something's wrong. I can't wake her.
I'm gonna try to speak to her telepathically. See if there's... Captain?
Oh,
Are you in there?
I'm so stupid. I thought you meant to Lorelei, and I was like, she says the same thing. No, I see where you're going with this. You sense that her mind is alive, but she is temporarily drained, perhaps? Yeah. Exhausted.
Alright. He still has a mind, but it is unresponsive.
You mean like
Perhaps
she's tired?
this is beyond simply being sleepy, but perhaps we give her time to recover?
Well, Godavos, you know about magic, right? She did something in the sky. You know the lightning that goes around the ship? She had one around her. And then it flickered out, and she fell unconscious. I cut the rope and brought us to the ground.
I do not know much about how she binds the elementals, but yeah, would Arcurios know anything more than what that is?
Maybe? Give me an Arcana check.
Yeah, why not? Cheat again. Ah, there we go. 25?
Yeah, it's like you said, you don't know much about the way that the airship magic works. But you have seen people go unconscious trying to cast magic when basically they're out of spell slots. It's effectively, what she's trying to do is cast a spell without having the power to do so. And it's obviously quite powerful magic, because she was trying to hold up an airship. That's probably quite a lot of magic involved in that. She also summoned an air elemental and was controlling that, and as you would know as Arcurios, when you lose control of an air elemental, it does its own thing. It doesn't just vanish. And indeed, you do see the signs of a tornado that's headed off to the east. So that's probably what that air elemental is getting up to. But she definitely seems to have overexpended herself.
Right.
I imagine that in the Mind Flayer community, that would be quite shameful almost to do something so wildly out of control.
Well, yeah, not something we get up to on a regular basis, but you are a more impulsive lot with your individualism and whatnot. Perhaps we, you, furry one,
Yes.
started with an F, yes. You came from a place that perhaps the captain could recover in safety?
Indeed. One of the scavenger towns nearby. I was staying there. At least temporarily.
Not a local.
No, very much not a local. I'll tell you more later when we're back there. However, do you mind if I take a look at your captain, give them a once-over,
No, feel free.
see how they're doing physically?
I'll do that. And Navi sort of tries to shoulder you out the way, but is a tiny flump, and you don't really move. And then sort of will focus on diagnosing Cleo and basically tell you that the best thing for her is a long rest. Maybe a couple of them. The captain's quarters on the ship could be potentially comfortable if you guys want to work on getting the ship out of the trees. If not, you could head back to the township. I don't know how welcoming they'd be. You don't know how welcoming they'd be, is what I meant to say. But could potentially be an option.
Don't we have a bottle or a vial of something that could help her?
You could rush her back to consciousness, but I don't know how useful it would be. We're going to need her magic when she returns.
Well, let her have a rest and we can explore the area a little bit. Doesn't that sound like fun, Bellows?
Well, yeah, I mean, otherwise it's just trying to get the ship out of the trees, and lifting something down seems so counterintuitive.
Oh, we can let the crew handle that. Besides, this furry one over here looks like he knows the way around a little bit.
Bro.
There is the sort of flapping of wings as Brandy sort of flaps on down to the ground. And Watch your bellows. Oh. Out like a light. She good? She looks down to little Cleo. Oh.
We may be in time.
Ship stuck in a tree.
Yeah, can you do anything about it?
Well, it might be useful, actually. It's hard to get these ships off the ground. It's already off the ground.
True.
Cleo would know, but I suggest we leave it there till otherwise made mention. Though I am going to fix up the mast. If I could take Sethi with me.
By all means.
Yeah.
And Sethi immediately departs in the wrong direction. She will go and retrieve him and turn him round and send him back in the right direction. And they will go to fix the mast and do that sort of stuff, leaving you guys free to sort of do whatever you want. Yacht will join them. He's no intention of wandering about with you. He hates scavenger townships. He's very prejudiced against them. He was not welcomed into one once when his previous ship had some troubles. And he thinks they're all rats. And rats and arse wipes is what he calls them.
A little bit harsh, but
Know a few of those.
it is true the townships aren't the most
Scum of
trusting.
the earth.
Certainly not trusting of outsiders, that's for sure.
Well, I guess we could just go look over the edge into the crevasse.
Oh, yes, indeed.
It is quite a journey, but you can make it in sort of an hour or so. The ship was travelling very fast. So as you came over the lip, you sort of would have had quite a lot of momentum. These trees, sort of as you look up, are about 140, 160 feet tall. So you had quite a distance to go to get down into the clearing. But yeah, I mean, it's sort of half an hour to an hour back the other way past the township. Actually, I should do that. Let's map ourselves and have a little look at where we landed.
The crevasse.
I mean, basically, Bellas would be happy to actually try to help them do some of the fixing once they've figured out what needs done. And
So the primary issue is that there is a tree through the middle of the sail.
right.
And the mast is snapped halfway up, which is a simple mending job. The rail at the front of the ship is broken into various bits, and the materials that once made those bits up are not anywhere to be seen. And yeah, that's it from the outside. Nobody has looked in the engine room yet.
Guess we can.
Yeah, okay. If you go with Nabrak and the robots to the engine room, there are... So if you remember, there are sort of crystals in the engine room that soak up the magic and recharge it. And within those, sort of they live within a series of gears and cogs in a larger machine that sort of is... And there's 4 of them. Well, there were. Now there are 3, and one of the ones in the middle is completely black. The crystal is shattered into tiny pieces. 2 of the gears are the other side of the ship. Nabrak sort of takes one look at it and go, "It is fucked."
How fucked?
I didn't realize it was something that could happen in degrees. It is completely useless. Dead. Broken. Fucked. It
I
is
was
about as
hoping it was
useful
just
for-
something metal. We could go back to the heat of the crevasse and maybe forge something to replace it, but a crystal I don't know much about.
No, minis and they are dug out of the ground. I don't know what to do about it. Oh well. It is currently about as useful as Elmore's head for flying a ship. We could try and take off with 3, but I don't know what that would do. Besides, we have none of the lightning stuff going on, you know. I am lost without a pilot. I'm also coming to the conclusion that I was French before we took a break. Suddenly realised that his accent was definitely very different before we took a break. I seem to have remembered our Korobos is better than his. Anyway. Yeah. You can head back and peek over the crevasse for the hell of it. There is no fixing that particular part of the engine room, but everything else should be fine. Do you want to go via the scavenger township? I've just realised this cursor. Sorry, it didn't move. So you're here. That obviously is the Scavenger Township, and that is the crevice.
Might as well swing through the Scavenger Town.
Cool.
Yes. Yeah.
You see a lot of people sort of turn away from you, ignore you. And there's some strange beings out here. There is a Loxodon with 2 trunks, which is kind of cool. There are 2 ghouls that seem to be awakened who are sort of stood at one end of the town having an argument about something. There's a slanty, broken sign that says private investigations. It has a cracked window, and there's a big paper sign sort of pulled over it saying, I don't want your work unless you pay in advance. There's this sort of rusty food stand place, which obviously Fenris has seen before. There's sort of 7 bar stools sat outside around this rusty food stall. There's this huge keg behind it, and behind the bar is arcane armor, that's not the right word, animated armor, who is serving drinks. And sat on one of the bar stools is a halfling, I believe. I do have to double check the legend. The cursor has vanished. But you think she's a halfling, and she waves at you as you come through the town.
Friend of yours. I'll to
She's
Fenris.
not specifically waving at Fenris, she's waving at all of you, but sure.
Not particularly. Have I seen the armor around before, by any chance?
You've seen the animated armor. He served you drinks, but it's not him that's waving at you. It's the halfling we think that is sat on the bar stool. That's waving at you.
Right. No, I certainly don't recognize this person very well. I'll head on over and I'll head on over to him.
She sort of gestures to him like, hey, how's it going?
It goes.
Oh.
You may have seen the thing pass overhead.
Oh, she is a halfling. Fantastic, I found her. Yeah, was that your airship that crashed?
Not mine, no. It's these fellas here.
I'll be damned. Who's your captain?
Her name is Cleo.
Oh, she alright?
No, I don't think so.
Well, should you need some help, specifically with getting your ship back in the air, I'm only the 2nd best pilot in the world. Darlene, at your service. And she sort of takes a bow and nods at you.
Which ship were you under?
Yeah, I flew with the Sparrow. I've flown the Silver Bullet. I was on a little 2-man spooner for a while. The Stakeout, Black Diamond, the Quill and Feather. I've flown a few.
Well, unless you've got one of their drive crystals in your back pocket as a keepsake, you're not going to be much use to us.
Are you a drive crystal down, are you? I could do something about that.
Go on.
Well, you happen to have rocked up at, the arse end of the earth, but it's rife with some good trade. There's a man here, collects strange devices. He's got a drive crystal in his possession, though I'm not sure he knows what it is. He'll charge you an exorbitant sum, I'm sure.
How incredibly convenient.
He may or may not be the reason I'm in town.
Interesting.
What did you want from him?
She sort of looks a little shiftily side to side and... Well, I don't know you all that well yet. I mean... Something I want back that he took from me. Or... He didn't take it from me. Somebody else took it from me and then he bought it.
And where is this man you speak of?
He Lives down the end of town. He's a little bit of a troublesome fellow, if I'm being honest. I don't really know how he acquires his goods, but he doesn't seem like the type to strike up a trade bargain, if you catch my drift.
I feel you.
We do have a handout for Darlene. I just hadn't added it to the campaign yet. So I'll just strike the odd in and you guys can have a look.
Darlene.
Darlene, get the shotgun! There's a kid in the bathtub! But she basically says she has something she wants back from him too. This is Darlene. She's a halfling pilot.
Alright. Looks like Miss Frizzle.
I don't know what that is.
The magic school bus.
I don't think we.
Educational
Jamal, do
program.
we have that in the
Yeah,
UK?
I don't think they have that in the UK.
No, I don't think so. It's not ringing any
As
bells.
per usual, I have stolen things from things I've never seen. Somebody said to me the other day, the storyline of your campaign is exactly like blah blah blah, and I went, well, that's a fucking coincidence. Never heard of it. Anyway, she says, I can show you his house. There's something I want. It's in a red scroll case.
Perhaps we will see about this as well as the drive crystal. Shall we, gentlemen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
One thing I would like to check real quick. Where I was staying, was there, would I have known if there was like space for them to set down their captain to recover?
I think he was staying in a tent at the edge of town.
At
Nobody's
the end
going
of
to
town,
offer you anywhere to stay in this place.
Sure.
So just to
Right.
explain this place, it's like you've sort of happened upon a Fallout 3 town, right?
Yeah,
there's
right,
these
I
sort
gotcha.
of they're basically shacks made of corrugated iron, like big sheets of metal that are sort of pushed up against each other. Sort that makes it sound like, an absolute cacophony when it rains. There are these sort of like signs which are clearly handmade, sort of scratched into with daggers. It's really very provincial and really rough and ready.
Right, got it.
But you're able to head down the road to this. I just realised we do have music for the scavenger towns, but it stopped playing when I went back to the front page. There we go. You are able to wander through the streets. Is it going to play? Ah, there we go. And head down towards this sort of dusty-looking... it's probably the most well-fixed building here. It's got 2 stone walls, and then the other 2 are made out of corrugated iron. There's a sort of... it looked like it might have been a glass panel in the side of one of the stone walls, but it's been boarded over. And there is a sign on the front that says, "Keep out, I will shoot you."
Would like to lead the way.
How do we want to approach this man? Do we want to be demanding? Do we want to try to intimidate him? Do we want to try to be hospitable and kind? How do we approach this, do we think?
Do we have anything to trade with him?
We have quite a bit of gold.
I would say preferably approach this unseen. But however you would like to go about this, well, I will assist in any manner that I can.
I get the impression he'd probably want things more than our gold, but don't show him either of the eggs.
No, those are not for him. But perhaps this cattle of vermin could be used to provide food for himself in this rough and tumble place. Otherwise, he is between two of the largest cities on the planet. That I imagine his ability to spend gold would, still be there.
Well, how do
Perhaps
we
we
do
see
this?
if he
We
is-
just knock on the door?
Is the polite thing to do?
I will do so with my bony hand. I'll just.
A quite quiet and
On-
gentle voice speaks from out of the door itself. It just says, "What do you want?"
Something that you might have, mister.
"What do you got for me?"
What do we have for him?
Oh, we have a great many items of varying degrees of enchantment that we could trade. We have gold. We have
How'd you get
gems.
'em?
Ah, mostly through pillage.
You thieves or rats?
I've never been called a thief in my life.
So you're rats.
If one is to make a binary distinction like that, sure.
You said you got it from other places. You didn't buy it. You didn't make it. You didn't. So you either purloined it from someone else, or you purloined it from a cave or a ruin or something.
Yes.
You get the idea.
All right, come in, but you got a weapon drawn, I'll kill you.
Alright.
Heading in.
Yeah.
Yeah, why
sure.
not?
Sitting
Like
on
he
a
seems
sort
like
of
a
rocking
friendly guy.
chair, a shotgun under his right arm, and a pistol in his left pointing at the door, is Claim. He looks at you. That picture should have arrived for a lot of you.
Oh, jeez, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
His eye really is like that. It is pure gold and it is shining at you. He sort of looks up at you. So, what you got for me?
Oh. First, we want to see if you have anything that we want. We have heard rumors, but they are just that.
Rumors.
Mhm.
Who you been talking to?
Nobody in particular.
You're hearing rumors from nobody in particular. Might want to get that checked out.
It's a large scavenger settlement.
There's 41 people in town. I'd hardly call that large.
I'm honest, I didn't even catch her name.
Ah, Darlene. She wants her blueprints back. That's not what you're here for. What do you need?
We are told you have a crystal that we could make use of.
Trying to see the future?
Oh, we already know the future.
You know what? If you weren't so damn ugly, I might like you. Alright.
I am not worried about whether you like me or not.
That's just fine. So you want the crystal ball or the crystal drive?
The drive.
And what you got for me? Hey, Rusty! Bring out the crystal drive. You hear a sort of thumping upstairs. And it sounds like there's something massive up there. And then coming down the stairs is a 2-foot robot with big shoes. And he sort of stomps down the stairs holding this crystal drive, which is almost the size of him. And he holds it up and he's got it, Claim! And he puts it on the table. Anything else? You can go. And Rusty heads on back upstairs. So, what's the trade?
What are you in need of? We have weapons, we have kind of very odd cat-themed things, if you have any interest in that.
Does it make me less
Great.
frightening if I tell you that I like cats? I do like
Well then.
I got 2.
Have we got? This is a weird
Have I,
stuff for you.
have I got the tray for you? And I'll bust out the crazy cat lady staff.
He sort of makes a gesture in his hand and summons his familiar, which is indeed a fluffy ginger cat.
God.
He's like, that's Whiskers. He don't look too tough, but he can do some cool things.
The copper cat figure 8, just drop it so it lands on its feet.
He
bag
sort
of
of
cat.
yes.
he focuses
The
for a
bag of
moment,
cats.
and you notice he is
Cat
casting Identify as he holds onto a little gem in his left hand. And nothing happens, and he sort of looks at you and... I'm not looking for ornaments from a mantelpiece.
And why not? See how nice. What
Because
are
I
you looking
live
for,
in a
sir?
shithole.
All the more reason to have nice things.
If you paint shit red, it's still shit. What else you got for me?
All right, shit aside. How about this? And then Elmore will grab like the cat daggers and sort of like spin them in his hand and hold them up for him.
Now we're talking. And he holds his hand out for one of them. He will cast Identify on it, and then he will throw it at a wall. And it'll land point forwards. And he sort of looks at it. I ain't got much use for old weapons myself, but that's some potent magic. Straight trade.
A moment to speak with my associates.
Coffee.
Please.
Rusty! Bring some coffee down. Yeah, thump, 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 thump. As he places this sort of rusty kettle in the middle of the table, and the robot focuses for a moment, and the kettle sort of jingles and jangles about, and starts to steam and squeak at you. And then Rusty sort of manifests out of, like, the front of him just opens, and 4 little cups are put out on the table for you, that are also a little bit rusty, and he pours the coffee into them and slides them over towards you. Klein looks at you. I ain't got sugar.
It's no problem. I'll use prestidigitation to flavor my coffee.
I'm gonna pass on the coffee.
Stains his bone.
Cool. Yeah, he's offering a straight trade crystal for alley cut fangs.
Do we want to try to get the roll case with blueprints looped in here as well?
Might as well.
Really try.
Throw in the weird cat stuff.
We could throw in. Well, we have 2 of the fangs, but like maybe we'll keep one and yet.
No, they're a
the-
pair. There's one item.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
have.
sorry. You're losing both at once, so you're losing neither.
Okay.
They're useless. You have to attune to both, not to one.
All right. So then we'll
By our Corvos' assessment on magical items, and Bellows' knowledge of workmanship, you are losing a lot of money in this trade.
most certainly.
Like 8,000 gold.
We'll at least
Yeah,
get him to
so-
throw in the blueprints.
Yeah, see if you can get him to throw in the blueprints.
What do you say?
Does he have any other things laying around that are interesting?
In this room is literally like a rocking chair, a coffee table, the coffee cups, and him. That is it. Like there, and
Very
sort of it's a broken out half. That's it. There is nothing.
So it's quite
else.
the empty room, and everything else, everything of his is upstairs.
Well, so you would assume, yeah.
Right.
All right. Let's get him to let's get him to throw in the map.
What do you say?
Let us take your little legal problem off your hands as well.
I ain't got no legal problems.
We have it that those blueprints were stolen.
You think that most of the stuff I come by is honestly bought?
It's not usually a problem until the original owner comes along.
I highly doubt that Darlene has ever seen these blueprints in her life.
Listen, there are 2 daggers. Give us the
want the
drive crystal
blueprints?
for one, and the
You're gonna
blueprints
need
for
to
the
give
other.
me something else. Do you even know what these blueprints are for?
I'm sure I have no idea.
Well, And he sort of opens his jacket and he takes out a scroll case. It's sort of a deep red leather scroll case. And you'll sort of notice he's carrying this on his person, right, when he has a whole loft of things. So it's obviously a little precious. And it is ancient. And he sort of lines it out on a table for you. These are the original blueprints to the first airship. So he tells you. Sort of says.
This does not seem actually particularly useful to us. What else do you have, sir?
I like your style. I have many things. I don't reveal until you want something particular. I don't just.
That is a wretched way to do business. Think if you had to go to a grocery store and they don't tell you what they have, unless you ask specifically for it. So you can't function that way. This is madness.
On the other hand, I make the most money out of the people who need something specific.
And how often does that occur?
Often enough to make me a very rich man.
And you live here when you are very rich?
Appearances are deceiving.
Yes, I often find that to be the case. Yeah, I would definitely live in a shithole if I was incredibly rich.
Come upstairs.
And have nothing going on. Thank you.
And he leads you up to a glowing silver door. And when you step into it, you find yourself in a most magnificent mansion. It is stunning. Every wall is covered in art that looks near priceless. There is, rich mahogany furniture, deep red plush carpets. He says, I don't live in a shithole.
So then this is worth something to you after all. And I tossed this stupid cat statue out into the middle of the room.
He sort of looks at it as it bounces across the floor on its feet repetitively, and he's just like... he sort of makes no remark, gestures towards his mantelpiece, upon which you see is like this stunningly beautiful diamond sort of figurine of a serpentine owl, and your little copper cat is on his floor, and he's like, no. Okay, so you want weapons? You want priceless artifacts? I got a lot of
would ask how the hell you managed to do this, but there's no way in hell I would understand any of it.
I believe his original name was Mordenkainen. I done got the spell from him. Passed down through the ways. Keeps me up in my magnificent mansion. He has lots and lots of things, but he doesn't really know where to show you. But one thing you will know for certain is most of it seems to be like artwork, artifacts, historical goods, as opposed to...
not worried about that kind of stuff.
as opposed to anything specifically useful.
Historical artifacts.
Yeah, sort of like he has the very first cigar case of a particular company's cigars. He has, it's all this pointless, rich showmanship. It's nothing special to actually use. He will offer you weird things as well, like proof of that the wife of the current governor of Newton is sleeping with another man. Weird other useless things. He will offer you an entire traveling pod. These are one of those solo pods that cost 100,000 gold each, and basically try and kill you the second you drive them. Lots of things that don't really have any use to you guys whatsoever. He does have a laser pistol.
I will ask about one specific thing.
A laser pistol, eh?
He has a laser pistol. He figures that might interest you.
A laser.
I do got this.
Drive crystal and laser pistol for the knives. Seems fair, right, team? Just speaking to my team.
I don't know how to judge a laser pistol in character. Laser pistols are just too exciting out of character.
Yeah.
We're
just gonna do dumb stuff with it.
I don't know how useful it is, like, to you guys. I think it's probably a downgrade on your regular guns. I'm not sure. I'm waiting for it to load.
We'll just have fun running around shooting stuff with laser gun.
Sure.
Just outside of combat.
Oh yeah. That's always the right place to shoot people. I honestly, I don't think this is
People,
ever going to
things.
load. Yeah, I mean, if you do you have anything else you want to offer him to get hold of those blueprints that she wants?
How about the?
I mean, you have other cat-related items, some of which are quite.
We do
good.
have, yeah.
Black
How
leather
about-
cat
how
armor
about-
if he wants to
how
look
about-
like Catwoman.
Or the catnip amulet.
Sorry,
Ooh.
Joe. What did you say?
I said, how much do we owe her? All she did was point us.
You don't owe her anything, but she was offering
no.
to help you get your ship off the ground in return
Yeah.
for those blueprints.
Well,
A
I mean,
bag
I
of
guess,
cats.
do we not think that,
You have no idea. if
Leo's
Leo's
going to be
gonna
okay?
useful.
I mean, yeah.
I honestly,
Alright.
I think I might just be loading forever. I don't know what's going on here.
What the hell's going on with your thing?
D&D Beyond just won't open items for me. You guys can just type in laser pistol.
I found it. It's
yeah.
a 3d6
Yeah,
radiant,
there you go. Fantastic. That's what it does.
which is pretty cool.
It also doesn't have the
Much
reload
better than
mechanic,
my
I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
It's
could
way
be
better
wrong.
than my regular pistol that I carry around just in case.
Right, okay, so it is much better than the pistols, it's just not better than the boomcaster. Got it. Okay.
Right.
Because there's no modifier on it, right? Whereas there is on your pistols. So I'm not sure 3d6 is better than like 1d6 plus 6 or something, or whatever it is. For you guys.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's shooting with my. If it were for me, it's only my dex anyway, so it's 1d10 plus 2
Yeah.
is the normal damage.
Yeah.
But, normally my intention is to get close and throw hand axes anyway. But.
So what if we threw him basically all of the cat treasure,
If you sort of vaguely
minus
through
the
any of it?
staff?
Okay. He won't. He has no interest in most of it, or like vague interest. The staff he will trade. The staff
Not even
only.
the bag. Not even the bag of cats.
No, but if you give him the staff, he will take only that in payment for the blueprints and the crystal. If you're willing to give up Cora the crazy cat lady's staff, he will
We do the
take.
staff. So we keep the knives. He takes.
You keep
just
the
staff.
knives. You keep your copper figurine. You keep your bag of catnip.
Catnip.
You can keep all of that, but the staff is something he's genuinely interested in because it's a one of a kind. It's a unique item, and for him that makes.
He
it
does have a cat familiar that
He
is.
does have a ginger fat cat familiar.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that actually.
Yeah, I can't see us using it much.
So wait, well, is he offering?
He'll
only
give you the laser pistol, the
Yes.
blueprints, and the.
Perfect.
And he loves
Yes.
this. As he sees this stuff, he's like,
We have
"Wow,
struck an
this-
accord."
This is an artifact of its time. It's amazing. To have this much love, not only for the cats, but for the magic craft that goes into this. Amazing. And it's beautiful, boot. Look at this beautiful cat on top. He sort of strokes it.
Yeah, it sure is something.
I'll
Mister.
tell you what, you ever want to bring me more priceless goods like this? I got an office at Arrenus as well. You can always find me there.
It's good to know. Thank you.
Do you have a card?
Do I? He doesn't have a card. He has something way cooler. He will toss you a little marble black statuette of his face.
Wow.
That's his calling
one way
card.
to
Does not
show
fit in the
your
wallet at all.
calling
Ugly.
It
ugly
doesn't
motherfucker.
fit in the wallet, but it does have a little glowing gold gem on its eye, and basically it
that's neat.
allows you to cast sending to him to find out where
So-
it is. He has offices all around the world, or so he tells you.
That's cool. So, I'm curious as to certain things. I don't know if you have them or not. Artifacts, more of the religious kind.
Nah,
Collect any interesting ones of those, or
I don't tend to traffic
fine.
much in religion, except for I got two things. Here. And he sort of reaches out into a display cabinet. He pulls out an ancient tome, sort of puts it in there. It's the Book of Ogma. I don't think there are many left of these anymore. It's positively boring, but it's interesting to some people. And I got one of these. And as he waves it, Elle, you feel a slight desire to run off, just briefly for a moment. It is specifically to be used against vampires, though. It is called Vampire's Bane, and it is basically a silver cross that you can use to cast Turn Undead, but more specifically, It wards off vampires, preventing them from
Regardless,
coming
El
within 15 feet.
will cower behind Elmore. Will cower behind Bella.
I'm sorry. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's the only religious stuff I got. I don't like religion much. Turns normal people into nut jobs.
Too often it does. Too often it does indeed.
You're hunting the moon bitch, right?
Huh?
You're hunting the moon bitch, right?
Yes, that's true. We are.
You got some information on that. Rumors say she took a trip into the crevasse.
Saloon took a trip into the crevasse.
So I heard.
Huh.
A few years back, some high priests, lichens like yourself, they took a leap down after her. Never came back.
Never came back. Wow.
Nah, the demons down there don't much like for the talking.
So I would have gathered.
But if you want to fight off half of what used to be the Abyss, you might find your demon bitch. Your moon bitch, even. Same shit.
Well, I have to keep that one in mind. Thanks for the heads up.
Anytime you want to kill yourself, I can find 5 constructive ways for you to do it.
No doubt. No doubt whatsoever.
So you leaving anytime soon? I'm not much of one for dinner guests.
I do believe we
Of
are
course, understandable.
Good. We've got a session to get on with. Bye. And he points you towards the door, gestures you to leave, and as you go towards it, he's like, wait, is that the right one? And he opens it and, yeah, it's that shithole. And then he lets you go down. Yeah. Cool. That's enough of Clane. His voice hurts my throat.
What an interesting guy.
Cool. You are able to leave.
Alright.
That's the shittiest scavenger township ever. There's like 15, 16 buildings. A few tents around. There is a
Fenris.
locked on with 2 trunks, though.
How came you by this shithole?
Ah, yes. How I came by this place. I was part of an airship crew.
An airship crew.
Yeah, the Twilight Sail. I was part of the, as we would call it, the away team to Twilight Sail. We made off and did all of our working by night. All of us were sort of much like myself. We didn't really work best by the day. So, go delving during the night, traveling by the night, taking shelter during the day.
Interesting.
We heard of a ruin not too far from here. Our away team went exploring this ruin, delving. Let's say I was the only one of those that made it out there. 6 other people went down there with me. I was the only son of a bitch that made it back.
What the hell did you run into?
Too many unspeakable things. Far too many.
Things.
Unspeakable things.
Gotta remember that one as a DM when I can't think in my feet.
Yeah, I said too many unspeakable things.
Unspeakable things!
Yeah. So,
but it's fair to
I'll
say
try to-
your airship also left you, right? Is that the case?
yeah, tried to make it back to the airship. Didn't make it back in time. There's a contingency. The airship would depart if we didn't make it back in time.
Was there lichens as well? Is this airship crew?
Mixture, not just lichens. Some others as well. But there were a few, yeah. And, well, they made off. And I got stuck out here. Had to work my way to the scavenger town and I would admit I barely survived the wilderness itself, but well. Now I find myself without a crew. And without a goddamn airship to ride on. So I'm stuck here.
Well, you carried Felix back to the ship. I assume our ship could carry you around a little.
Indeed.
Well, if you offer, that would be most welcome.
What were
That
you
would be very,
searching
very
those ruins
appreciated.
for?
Well, if I've secured my ride out of this dump, it's most fantastic.
What were you searching the ruins for, Jamal? I think you missed that question.
Oh, what was I searching the ruins for?
Hmm.
Well, myself specifically, I was trying to find particular artifacts, especially of religious kind. Anything that could help bring back Saloon to her full grace. She's been lost to us all for too long now.
Indeed.
The others, I can't necessarily say the same for. Most of the crew were mostly there just, for the riches, for the things for the taking.
Mhm.
I had something a little bit more specific in mind.
Well, if we have time, it may take time to repair the ship and whatnot, and we need something to do. Maybe we see about these ruins, yeah?
I will warn you, it's not pretty down there.
I do not come from a pretty place.
It's not pretty up here.
I'll tell you that.
Shithole, I believe was the word.
Shithole, that's one way to put it. The ruins are a little bit more of a hellhole than a shithole, but pick your poison.
Either way, let us get this crystal back to the ship, yeah?
And we should find somewhere suitable for your dear captain.
Yeah, and with that, I think we'll take a short break.
No.
Hello, and welcome back to the second half of our much-missed Treasure Rats. I suppose, Jamal, the one thing I didn't really ask you for is a description of Fenris. Obviously, we do have a picture, but tell us about him. What does he look like? How tall is he? That sort of stuff.
Yeah, so he's pretty much, as I've discovered, pretty much always in his hybrid form. So he is very much a wolf man.
Mm-hmm.
So he's 8 foot something, 8'8" sort of fairly large, tall in that sense. Not the stockiest of build, but a bit wiry under his significant height.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially
Coloration?
Dark sort of grey fur with lighter patches and accenting marks. And he generally, you won't really see him all that often without his armor. Most of the time when he's not in his full cleric armor is when he's wearing his vestments, which he will wear for actual ceremonies towards Saloon.
Interesting.
Cool.
Interesting.
And just a reminder to everybody else, Saloon is not currently a god. Saloon was one of the deities that fell, and all of the Lycans and a bunch of other people are basically seeking Saloon to try and re-elevate her to the pantheon, but she has been missing for over 100 years. Did Rico just freeze?
Yeah.
Okay. Rico, if you can hear us, hi. Well, he'll miss this piece of information. The rumours, as you've just heard from Klain, are that she fell into the crevasse. Little more is known than that. The crevasse is not a place that's good for a holiday, so despite all of these rumours, many of the people are hunting elsewhere in the hope that they don't have to go down there. Yeah, cool. So, when you return with this crystal, are you taking it to Darlene, or are you taking it directly to the ship, or are you visiting Darlene to give her a blueprint, or what's the thinking?
I don't know, how do we feel about Darlene?
I think we can tell her that we have them now.
That's fair.
Not necessarily
Maybe
hey,
she could do something to earn them.
Yeah, we got these back for you, but just more of like, if you're still after these, he doesn't have them anymore, and then walk off.
There you go.
Yeah, that sounds very Bellows-esque. Okay. So yeah, you wander back into town. She's like, "Wait, you got them?"
Yes.
Can I see?
We did pay a considerable sum for them.
You paid for them? Oh. I didn't have you down for honest traders. Then again, stealing from Clayton's kind of suicide, so that makes sense. Perhaps I can be of service to you in exchange. I'm a very good pilot. If you need a pilot. I hope you don't need a pilot. I hope you need a pilot. Is it bad that I hope you need a pilot?
Yes.
Oh, I hope you don't need a pilot. But if you do need a pilot, I can help. But you needed to reinstall a crystal, right? A drive crystal. I can at least help you with that.
We will bring you to our engineer and see if he can make use of you.
Great, yeah, let's go. Cool. She pulls out her flight goggles like she's about to take off. And then after like a minute or so, she like lifts them back up. She's like, I can't see very well in those when I'm on the ground. Anyway, shall we? She comes with you. She seems quite chatty. She'll like, so where are you from? Like, what do you do? Where's the most dangerous place you've ever been? Who's the most dangerous boss you ever killed? What's the coolest bit of loot you've got? All questions that I'm sure you don't care about. So we won't bother answering them in roleplay. Instead, you can take her to the ship.
Hello.
Alright, we'll do it.
What I will do is listen in to the answers to the questions, because this is a chance for me to learn more about the crew themselves.
Yeah, and you definitely, you hear those sorts of things. Obviously, they're from the Scarlet Rose. They came from Arrenus originally. They're based in Arrenus, but they're from everywhere. Each person came from somewhere else before that, right? From Morena and from Arcania and from Arrenus and such.
We don't embellish because we don't need to.
No.
I will pontificate about my decades in academia, though.
Great, love that.
Wonderful.
But yeah, you come upon the ship, and you do see that Felix is up and about. And he's sort of morosely looking down at the ground and walking around the ship. Looking a bit lost, and as he sees you, he's like, hi.
So is that it then?
I don't know.
Well, let us know if you see visions of a new crash, or the same one, or something that we will have another data point to compare. Yeah?
I don't think so. I think once we get back to Arrenus, I must stay on the ground for a while.
Very well.
Nonsense, Felix.
Well, really, I'm going to stay on the ground for a while.
Oh.
No, really, like I have to work at 8 o'clock in the morning. I can't stay up this late on Monday night. I'm gonna have to stay on the ground for a while. Maybe someday in the future, if my owner gets a different job, I might be back. But yeah, that's sort of all Felix will contribute to the matter. Navi will tell you that Cleo has come around a couple of times, but she seems quite distressed.
Alright. Well, should we go see the captain? Maybe we'll swing by the engine room first and drop off the drive crystal and Darlene.
Cool. Yeah, Nabrak is like, this is very good. I could. I don't know how to use this. He looks at the halfling and like, who is she?
She is an airship pilot without an airship.
That is unfortunate for her, but perhaps fortunate for us. Do you know how to put one of these back in there? She's like, yeah, and I can fix it up, and I can't fix the metal, but maybe your robots can do that. You look like you've got a repair drone there. Is that an S3? Cool. And she like pats him on the head. It's like, we had one of yous on the Black Raven. And Sethi sort of turns around. Didn't the Black Raven crash? Yeah, it did. But we don't talk about that too much. Anyway.
Let me guess, not your doing, right? Not your doing.
Oh, it was totally my fault.
Well.
I was new to flying back then. She did list off like 7 different ships she's flown, by the way.
Well, you know what they say, you make a mistake once and you're not going to make that one again.
That's what they keep telling me. Anyway, should we fix up your airship? Wow, this is some super modern design. It's really cool. The Gadget Wizmo goes in the ding-dong. She's like, starts moving stuff around. She's calling things all by the wrong names. And Nabrak's just looking slightly distressed. And she's like, I never bothered to learn it properly. I didn't go to flight school. I learned it all myself. Self-taught, you know? Anyway, yeah, that goes in here and this goes in here. And she starts moving stuff around and Sethi's like, she does seem to know her stuff. No, that is not a gadget gizmo. And that is not a ding-dong. You guys get bored really quickly and head off to see Cleo, I guess. Yeah. The captain is sat up in the bed, and she seems to have tears running down her face. And Lorelei is holding her hand. She sees you all, and she sort of, oh, hello.
How are you feeling, Captain?
Oh.
I'm physically okay, I think.
This is good.
But she puts her hand out and sort of like this little faint spark sort of frazzles. I can't feel the ship. Can't
Has
even
this ever
cast a
happened to you
cantrip.
before?
No, never.
Interesting.
Is it? I think it's quite distressing, personally.
But no, we can't handle. Sure we'll
Oh,
find the remedy.
sure. In the meantime, what are we gonna do? We're stuck in a tree.
About that, you seem to have procured a pilot of sorts.
In this place?
Surprising, I know.
He has piloted a great many airships.
Most pilots only ever fly one.
A distressing amount of
It seems she has crashed a great deal as well.
She?
Yes.
Who is she?
A little halfling woman, yeah, by the name.
By the name...
Darlene.
Oh, yeah. That sounds real reassuring. Well,
I'm sure only temporary, Captain.
it's gonna take some serious magic to get this ship back in the air. We've lost all charge. We have those heavy new steel tempests on the ship. I would struggle to do it myself.
Are we taking bets?
Sure. Let's bet on whether Cleo's ever useful ever again. I'd like you to leave.
Yeah. Okay, so just leave.
Yeah. She sort of gets distressed, and Lorelei like shrugs her shoulders and is like, "You just need some rest. Come on, rest your head back. It'll be okay." And Navi helpfully turns around and goes, "That's quite unlikely. If you don't have your magic now, you probably never get it back again." Lorelei sort of lazily flings a firebolt at Navi's head, which he ducks and leaves quickly. She calls out and she's just like, "Elle, tell this Darlene if she can get the ship in the air, she can fly it back to Arrenus."
All right.
Yep.
Is she still in? Is she still? Is she still?
By the time you get back to the engine
room,
room, she's like almost finished. The whole thing's gleaming.
Wow.
She's got things moving again. Cogs are turning. Everything's looking great. If a robot could look slack-jawed, it would. Nabrak is like, "Oh, this does not make any sense. She speaks absolute rubbish and she performs miracles at the same time. I don't get it."
To be fair, this was a job that you felt could not be done at all.
This is true. I did not necessarily mean that it could not be done. I meant that it could not be done without the crystal. But with the crystal, even then, it would be beyond me by quite a way, so Cleo, perhaps.
Well, let's see what she's got then.
Just a reminder, I am not the real engineer here. I just, I do the normal stuff. You know? Like, he does guns and masts and stuff. It's S3 and Cleo who, like, look after the engine, so it's not really his area of expertise anyway. But he's kind of clever sometimes, I think.
So what I'm getting is she's a talented one, but she's unconventional indeed.
It does seem this way.
Just learned experience, perhaps, or maybe there's something more
Dumb
interesting.
luck.
Well,
So, how's your captain?
Covering?
Oh, that's good.
Yes, time will tell. In the meantime,
Yeah.
let's see if we can get this ship off the, I suppose it's already off the ground. Up in the air, then.
Your captain's not going to do that?
No, my dear, you are.
You need me? Cool, can I see the blueprints? Just a quick glance.
Give her a quick glance.
What are these? Oh. Oh, these are useless. It's like some historical artifacts.
Yeah.
That's not what I thought they'd be. Ah, shit! I'm so sorry you paid for them.
what were you expecting?
There's this new plan for like 2-man pods that fly, like that can cross the wilderness. I thought that's what these were the blueprints for.
In a case like that,
This is some ancient kaput. I could draw these myself from memory. Useless. Oh, shit. Oh, I'll keep up
Perhaps
the
they'll
hunt.
have some monetary historical value.
Yeah, that's true. So, you want to get the ship in the air?
Yeah.
I can give that a go. And she starts like she goes up to the where is my thing? The noise thing. I know I have a noise thing. Sorry, it's really annoying me. Nope. Oh, since I revamped everything, I can't find anything at all.
Oh.
I want my airship flappy noises. Me airship flappy noises. There we go. Cool. So she sort of starts looking around and is like, yeah, okay. So this is this and this is that. And do you have a wheelman? Is that you? And she points at Bellows.
Not exactly.
You looking for yacht? Yacht.
Yeah. You need me.
Take the helm, please.
The captain's battle?
Not quite. We're trying out a new pilot.
Oh. That sounds terrible. I'll get on the wheel.
It does.
He goes to the wheel where he's most accustomed, and she starts sort of looking around and... Alright, I don't suppose anyone's got any whiskey, have they? I do find it helps.
I don't know that I have
Whiskey out here?
I'm sure we could find some somewhere on the ship.
I'll take a sandwich and a coffee.
I don't know.
Start rummaging. We have our tankards of plenty that can produce beer.
An ale will do.
I mean, hell, worst case scenario, there's that godforsaken moonshine they got back in that scavenger town.
That stuff tastes like shit, but it's good stuff. We'll take the tankard of plenty and sort of neck the
Yeah.
whole lot. And... Right, where were we? Okay. So, yeah, I think everything's about... Ah, fuck it, let's go! And she sort of clacks her hands together and a literal thunderbolt falls out the sky. Like, lightning bolt comes out the sky and strikes the edge of the ship. So, bit more, I guess. And again, and again, and then like a thundercloud is above her head, and she starts to like summon down bolt after bolt. This little tiny halfling. So goggles down, hair reaching the end. She necks another beer halfway through and sort of keeps going, and the ship begins to rumble and tremble. And then, in a manner unlike you've ever seen before, it doesn't shoot up into the sky, it just gently starts to lift off the ground. It shakes briefly and then glides gently up into the air. She looks around. Oh, that's that done. Where are we headed, team?
Take her to Arrenus.
Arrenus it is. Does anyone know where we are?
Do we have a navigator? Isn't Brandy the navigator?
No, normally it's Cleo, but Nabrak does have some good knowledge of currents and airnavs. Sort of, you see, we crashed a little bit over the converse, and we're sort of midway between Arrenus and Lunesra. Okay, yeah, that shitty town, and I knew I was at one of them. Let's not talk about how I got there. Okay. Arrenus it is. She sort of turns the ship a little bit, and she gestures a couple of notches left to yacht, and the ship begins to glide at a fairly glacial and, God also describe it, boring pace. It's no rocket journey of Cleo's madness. It seems very controlled.
I will, in the boredom of it, I will burn my my once a day chromatic dragon thing for lightning damage, and just like sort of 10 times in a row for the minute that it lasts, tap my weapon on like the collection plates of the ship, trying to burst in tiny little bits of extra lightning power. Like, can we get this thing to go any faster?
You want to go faster? I can do that, if that's what you desire. How much faster? She sort of gestures, and the ship begins to sort of speed up. But do you know in that sort of... I don't know if you've ever been in like a really expensive saloon car. But like, they don't... You can't hear them getting faster. They feel quite glacial. Then you look out the window and you're overtaking everything. I went on a really expensive luxury taxi once. And it felt like that. Yeah, so like she starts to speed up, but you barely feel it. Like, it doesn't rumble or jitter at all. It's just like gliding faster and faster. And she's like, do you want more? What was your name?
Bellows. I mean, unless you enjoy being here rather than where we're going, I don't see the point in going any slower than we have to.
I see. Very well. And she sort of makes a gesture, and an actual thundercloud appears behind the ship and starts just jolting lightning into it. And the ship takes off at a speed that you have never traveled. I mean, it is so fast that you can't even like grip the edge without like your whole body shaking. Your face is being pushed backwards. There's G-force on your face. You all look like you're smiling, grimacing. Yoris sort of turns to you all and... She can fly, can't she? Wow.
Well, I'll be damned.
Not a patch on our Cleo, though, obviously. Sort of... As you begin to approach Arrenus, she's going so fast, she's like, oh! And the ship literally flies over it. And she's like, oh, sorry, about turn. We're going to have to slow down, Bellows. Sorry, it's kind of part of parking.
These things happen. I mean, I could just jump off at speed, but the rest of us want to land.
Yeah. So she turns the ship around and, like, resumes that sort of glacial pace and starts slowly descending. She's like, I'm determined not to crash this one. No experimental flying. Not my ship. Not my ship. And she brings it in, like, real gentle. And she's like, so where do you guys park? And then you'll be able to tell her that it's, like, Harbor 8. And, like, she brings it down onto the ship. And Cleo sort of pops out of her captain's quarters and looks around. You seem to be quite quick. Oh. I see. I'll go back to bed. Wait, we're here? Oh. Oh, Cornivos, Bellows, El, would you, accompany me to my home?
Yes, Captain.
We've got time to spare now.
And she will turn to Fenris and to Darlene and say, I'm ever so sorry, but perhaps you might wait on the ship. We won't be long.
Of course.
You'll
And I'll turn
notice
to our
that
pilot and say, "By Saloon, how in the hell did you manage to fly that so fast? In all the ships I've been on before, nobody has ever managed that."
me and Stormclouds get on. That's all. You will have heard, perhaps, Arconivos definitely has heard, that although most ship pilots are pretty good, Storm Sorcerers are very rare. To be born with that magic instead of learning it is very unusual, and they do tend to be the quickest pilots. If a little
But they're
occasionally
reckless.
erratic. Not necessarily reckless, but they tend to be experimental, right? They tend to
reckless.
attempt things that shouldn't be attempted.
Right, we'll just keep a handle on her then.
But basically, Cleo will lead you to the Kirkland Estates. And she says, this is a little awkward. I don't have any children, and I hate most of my family, as you well know.
We do.
I
Reasonable.
think I'm going to take passage on a charter ship. I think I'm going to go with Lorelei to her home in Lazarus. Stay there for a little while and recuperate. You
Understood,
don't
Captain.
have to take the new halfling girl, but you may if you wish. But I would be honored if you would look after my ship and perhaps keep business going in my stead. You can go wherever you please, just don't lose my ship. She's precious to me.
She's precious to all of us, Captain.
Also, I was thinking about selling my estates, moving in with Lorelei permanently. But well, who better to sell them to? Discount price?
What are you asking?
10% of your profits. This is beyond the 50-50 split that she already gets. Right? 10% of your profits and the Kirkland Estates can be yours. Or a flat 600,000. Just in case you've got that lying around. No,
To
you
be
don't.
fair, the flat 600,000 could eventually be the cheaper of the two options.
That is likely. But something tells me you don't have much in assets.
But I do not need these large estates at the moment.
No, but it could be useful. Home base fuel, you know. Bit of fun.
That was a big deal.
What do we say, boys?
I mean, we spend most of our time on the ship.
Mm.
And now that's more our place to stay than ever.
It'd be a shame to let the estates fall into outside hands.
I mean, they are not my ancestral estates.
True.
And if I am to have a large residence, Arrenus is likely not the city I would wish to have it in.
You don't have to.
Again, if we are... Go.
I can offer them to others. I just wanted to offer them to you first. I thought maybe, I don't know, you might need a place to stash your unusual copper cats.
Ah, no. Apparently Klein has many establishments across the world, and he will
Claim?
acquiesce at some point. He will buy the cat. Yes.
You've met Claim?
Yes, GoldenEye. Fairly strange business
I
practices.
know the man. He's very dangerous, you know.
Ah,
Is that right?
he seems fine.
On your head be it.
I'll take Clean's marble and sort of wrap it in a bunch of fabric before stuffing it back.
In case he starts spying on you out the stone, like court mage Farron.
He's talking shit about us. About
I was
him.
gonna say, we can send to him. I think we should just talk to him every
It's on
night.
demand, but yes.
Bug him.
Yeah, I mean he's
Tell him about our day.
he's gonna love that.
So, yeah.
Wake up in the
We're
morning.
off on
I had a
this
really weird dream. I don't know. So my ex-landlord and one of my old managers and I had to make a go-kart, and
Well, he refuses to have a catalog of his goods, so we should just ask him, do you have this? There's like a list
Yeah,
of items.
constantly
Milk. Do you have 3 penny nails? Do you have
looking for
scissors?
a crock to ferment cabbage in. What do you
I
got?
like the way
What do
that you said that, and my image went to that. Do you have Crocs the shoes? I was like, why would you ferment cabbage in a crock?
It's a lot of air circulation going on.
There is. It tends to be quite leaky though. They're yours if you want them. What if you don't? I'll hold
What are
on
we
to them for a
talking
little
about
while
in terms
anyway.
of the estates? They're like a grouping of houses.
So her estate is like a ginormous mansion. She takes up one of the they're one of the noble estates, which means that effectively it is just like this huge mansion. It's got like 4 wings. There are like servants' rooms, arts quarters. There's a wine cellar. There's a couple of workshops. There's some beautiful palatial gardens, which are very, very rare in this world. She has at the center, and you can turn it into a base and do what you like with it, or you can leave it and ignore it. It's totally up to you. They're not going to go immediately. You don't have to make your decision today.
Sounds good.
You know, she'll keep on to them for a month, but she plans on basically taking a charter ship to Lazarus, taking some time out, seeing if she can regain her magic. There are plenty of pilots for hire in Arrenus, with far more stellar reputations. But Darlene is quite happy to fly for free, as long as as long as she gets food and boarding. She's wanted to have a ship to pilot for 7 months. That's really all she cares about.
So how long she was stuck in the scavenger town then? 7 months or?
No, she was stuck in that particular scavenger town for 3 weeks.
Oh, bless her. Jeez. Being here 2 days is bad enough.
Yeah, I mean, if you engage her in idle chatter on the ship while waiting for them to come back, she will tell you that she stole a pod, one of those one-man pod races, and it went off the crevasse. Luckily, she didn't. She had no idea how to drive the thing, but she drove it from Lunethra, where she was running from somebody who she didn't get on very well with. You get the impression she's had a few run-ins with the law. Probably didn't have her blueprint stolen from her. No gathering. Yeah, but she got herself stuck there, having crashed her previous airship into the mountains east of Lunethra. Cleo always tells you never to fly over those mountains and always to go round them, so that's probably why. But hell, she's up to trying it again if you guys want to come along for the ride.
Well, that crash was not so bad.
No, but the previous ones I've had have destroyed the airships completely. Your pilot did well to keep the ship up, although I must question whether it was at the expense of her abilities. Oh well.
Foolish. But yeah. Well, gentlemen. Should we head back to the ship? Pick up our Fenris friend?
Yeah.
You can be involved and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it is totally up to you guys what you do. She has
I was
sort of
thinking,
said she's off.
are there any things in like? Can we pick up any maps in Arrenus? I think we only have one.
I don't think you have one. You have 3. The Elvish Tomb, the Catacombs of Buka the Fiendish, and Lost Tomb Druid.
Oh. We haven't done Lost Tomb Druid.
I don't believe so. Bear with.
Which was Druid's Rest.
That's where we got all the druid treasure.
Yeah, I think we did.
Sounds
So we
right.
got like the nature mantle and the staff of the woodlands and
Hmm.
the charm of plant command
And the hide
That
of the
would
feral
make
guardian.
a lot of sense. Yes.
yeah.
Hmm.
I thought
Okay,
it was
so
just
there's an
fix
elvish
it.
tomb.
We may have not have done that.
I don't know.
Tomb of an elf.
Yeah, I
Do
don't
you
think
have
we've
that?
been there.
Well, it's
No.
easy. We just look at the loot, right?
I
You've
was
been
looking
to
at the
Druid's
loot.
Rest.
What-
You've been to the Vault of Dolgan. You've been to Sithis Tor. You've been in the
Yeah.
Alley Cat's Den. You've been to the Hall of Dwarven Kings.
Mhm.
And that seems to be it.
Mhm.
Druid's Rest is obviously that lost tomb druid. So yes, you have the Catacombs of Buka the Fiendish, and you have the Tomb of an Elf. But if you so wished, there is indeed a store. I still haven't moved these to the website. They're still on the spreadsheets. It's going to take me years to move the Shops of Xandros to a website. But in the Shops of Xandros, we have a map seller. Whisper and Gallahan both sell maps. If you remember, Gallahan is the Aarakocra famous scout.
Is he the one that could actually tell us, like,
Who can tell you how
dangerous
difficult
they
and
are?
dangerous they are, indeed.
Mm.
He also has a personal collection of maps that are much more expensive. So I think if I copy this link, you should all have access to these.
I
I've
see
just
it.
posted in Roll20. So yeah, there's both Whispers maps.
And Gallahan's personal collection.
Yeah, so Whispers maps are. Trading places. Yeah, she has Shifting Sands, the Arboretum, the Caverns of Decay, the Nether Mines, the Fire Crevice, Hades Gap, Wilderness of the Beastland, the Twisted Forest, Banshee's Rest, the Tartarian Depths, Gravitonium, Arcadia Bourne, Mithril Mines of Mindal, and the remains of Gar Sharai.
And Gallahan has the current.
The first three are not maps. Well,
Ah,
technically, Under Laketon is a map. That is a map of the sort of sea world that is under Laketon. It is not a dungeon to delve. Merely an interesting byproduct. Getting from A to B is sort of a guide as to the different types of transport you might utilize to get from one place to another.
Gotcha.
And happens to also mention all the scavenger townships. So we'll show you where they are on the map and stuff, but obviously most of them you believe Cleo has documented and has drawn on the map for you. And the Currents of the Skies is exactly what it says. But you would hope that those are in Darlene's head. As well as Nabrax. So yeah, it's just the others. Minas Moritania, Valsarif, Orgol, the Twin Peak, Gargoyle Citadel, the Dark Fort, Celestine, the Underground Forest, Moonstone Rivers, Far Koleth, and Labyrinthi. Obviously his are a little more pricey.
I noticed.
Does the fire crevice have any relation to the fiery crevasse?
You would assume that Fire Crevice is in the crevasse somewhere. Or at least near.
Interesting.
Could be a goddess stuck in there.
Yeah. How does Fenris think about diving into a fiery crevasse to find a god?
What does Fenris think, Jamal?
About locations to choose.
No, he was saying, what do you think about diving into the Fire Crevice to see if there's a god in there?
Sounds like a death trap. But
Most of these dungeons are.
Yeah.
well,
How cool.
I'm certainly in.
Is this where the dude is that knows what's dangerous?
No, but Gallahan is next door, so you can sort of like ask him about the maps that are currently in Whisper's shop. He will tell you that he thinks the Fire Crevice is well within your grasp, as is anything else below 4,000 gold.
Yeah, I kind of figured the price isn't the dangerous.
Banshee's Rest, he's heard, is quite spooky, but not that dangerous. The Tartarian Depths, he says, is likely a good way to die. Gravitonium's really cool, as long as you have a way of surviving falling damage. Although he did hear of one guy who's been there for like 10 years and hasn't got out. Arcadia Born is very mechanical from what he's heard, and likely is much more about traps and mechanics than about the enemies in it. The Mithril Mines of Mindel, he will tell you, is probably a myth, and he reckons the maps are fake. Make of that what you will.
But he'll charge us 10 grand.
He's not selling it.
The other
Whispers.
guy.
it's the other guy. It's the other guy.
He reckons she will argue that it is not a fake, but he thinks they're a myth. And the remains of Gar Sharai, he says, have been consumed by strange monsters, aberrations. He wouldn't go there if it was his choice.
Well, Fire Crevasse is not that expensive and might actually tie into something we want to do, so I'm all for Fire Crevasse.
Okay,
I'm on
do you just
Fire
want to buy the
Crevasse.
one map, or do you want to buy a few? Because they're not that
I
expensive.
mean,
Wanna do some
Gravitonio
Eastlands
sounds
or some
fun,
Twisted Forest.
but these easy ones sound good too. I mean, look, Bellows doesn't care about an arboretum, but I love trees. I'll go anywhere there are trees as a player.
Like the Twisted Forest, perhaps.
Does it work?
That's true too. Yes.
Might be
Yeah.
a little, more worth our time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the one thing you've got to think with these cheaper ones, right, is that there might only be one good piece of loot there, but they're also going to be super
Right.
easy. And
Yeah.
you get a
Yeah.
feat. Just in case you need more of those.
the feet farm.
Sure. Well,
It's up to you.
I would be
Fire
interested in
crevices.
doing.
Okay,
any
so
of the
the
interesting-
Fire Crevice is a definite, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
let's put that on the map.
Yeah, we could grab Twisted Forest and Arboretum real quick.
Bear
just
with.
to-
We're
Yeah.
going to do one at a time.
Yeah.
We're going to ban this dickhead who's trying to sell me a bot.
5,000. Let's just take that out of our communal wealth that we haven't distributed yet.
So which ones are these cheaper dungeons then?
I'm getting there. Okay, this is the Fire Crevasse. You guys on the same map as me?
Yes.
Yes, okay, cool, great.
I got the pin
Um,
for that now. Yeah. Awesome. That is definitely not a Catacombs of Buka the Fiendish.
No, I copy-pasted.
Yeah. That's totally fair.
Okay, what else did you want to buy?
We're gonna go for the trees,
The Twisted
Twisted
Forest?
the Arboretum, and
And
the
the
Twisted
Arboretum.
Forest.
Okay, the Twisted Forest is in or near Val Shara. Over here.
Oh.
This pin's a little difficult to see, so I'm gonna sort of just put it there. Did the Fire Crevice copy?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, I'm not seeing it. And Arboretum, you said?
Oh no, it didn't. It didn't copy. Sorry. This. You mean like a second Fire Crevice?
Yeah.
I see the purple. I see the purple pin in the Valshara forest.
Ah, yes.
But I'm not able to paste any words yet. Oh. Cool. Arboretum, any other maps we are purchasing?
That'll do for now, I think.
Yeah.
So-
that's okay.
Run by the cheaper ones real quick again. Just
What
for
about them?
curiosity's sake.
Okay.
Which ones were they?
The ones with the lower price?
Yeah.
Oh, I think he means like what does Galahad have?
You want me
say
to
about-
read it to you?
No, I just run by what the maps were again, the cheap ones, because you said there were cheaper ones.
Okay, Jamal, are you not on the document that everybody else is reading?
Oh, maybe he doesn't
No,
have.
no, I don't have it. I don't think.
Of course you
Where
have it. You wrote it.
Where is it?
It's in the
Oh.
Roll20 chat. Just click that. You'll find yourself trading places.
Oh, yeah. Okay, right. Yeah, I found it again. Right. Yeah.
This is why I was like, what do you mean run by the cheaper ones? They're the cheaper ones. They're the ones that cost less.
I just didn't see the document with it. That was all. No, yeah, I've got it now. Thanks.
Okay, I need to refresh. I think.
I totally lost the fucking link to this one. My bad.
I sent it in the thingy chat, right? That's why I was so confused.
Yeah.
So Shifting Sands and Arboretum and Caverns of Decay and Nethermines are all very cheap. They should be very sort of like, that's a one sesh, if you like. One session in and out, boom, boom, slap. At any point that you guys want to do it. It's really not letting me put names anywhere. Let me name
Yeah,
things.
the Arboretum sounds cool as well. I know that one was mentioned.
Arboretum has been bought, as has Twisted
Yeah.
Forest.
Yeah.
Am I misunderstanding, like, the buttons for copy-paste or something? Like... Okay, whatever. My control button's not working.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Yeah, I know. That's the Twisted Forest. Cool. there is those two. Did we purchase anything else? Did you want to buy Shifting Sands or Nether Regions or anything? Or are you quite
At the
happy
moment.
with it? Nope. Not much.
Seems like we got like 5 dungeons to do.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that is correct. Do you want the done dungeons on your map? I mean, it's kind of nice to know that they're done, right? So I guess what I'll say is I'll change this to Druid's Rest. Druid's Rest. And then I will change the text color to blue or to green. I guess that makes more sense to indicate it's
colored something.
we have a darker green.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, sure. That's It's Tomb of an Elf we have not been to, but Vault of Dolgan we have, and the Hall of Dwarven Kings we have. We can also make that a little larger.
And we did the Wyvern thing. I guess you can get rid of that if you like.
I'll just get rid of the Wyvern. It's it wasn't a
Not there
dungeon.
anymore.
Yeah, it's not there anymore. Oh, why is this not working? Side note: has anybody seen the D&D film?
Yeah.
No, not yet.
Not
Oh,
yet.
I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
I heard it was really good.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm starting to slightly care about Forgotten Realms stuff.
I've loved the Forgotten Realms since ever.
Right, like I know
I've
you're
read
into
the
it.
books and
One
stuff.
of my other friends I play with is super into it too, and I was always like, I just want to play in some homebrew nonsense. But like, all right, Harpers are kind of cool. I could get into that sort of thing.
Harpers were fun.
I probably won't be watching it, but
you'll
just
love it.
Glad that people like. I'm just glad that people like it, and that it seems to be from
It's,
what most people say.
I thought it was going to be like a Lord of the Rings set in the Forgotten Realms, like just a fantasy story. And then to find out that it was like an homage to playing D&D, it was just, especially like the fourth wally jokes and stuff. Really enjoyed it. Anyway, so we bought some maps. We've got some places to go. Cora will promise to travel with you for free and fly you wherever you want. If you wanted to go to Newton before dropping to the Fire Crevice, you may, if you wish. If you wish to go straight to a dungeon, you may. All I'm going to ask from you for now is to decide where you are setting off to.
Yeah, where do we want to go first?
I mean, the Arboretum is quite literally
It's right there. We could bounce
Close and
to the
easy.
Arboretum, then go to the Fire Crevasse from there.
One thing that's worth mentioning about the Arboretum, you will be told this when Whisper sells you the map. It is not a dungeon in the sense of you're not going down underground. It is instead a weird, magical little... Forest is a deep word for it. It's like a large section of trees where strange things happen.
Sounds fun.
And there's meant to be treasure there. Cool. Okay, with a destination in mind, Cora will get the ship running and...
Eileen?
Darlene or Cora?
Yeah, Darlene. Cora is a healing halfling that you can hire in Arrenus. I don't think she's coming along for the ride. Fuck her, we're sitting at home. Also,
Where did that one come from then?
due to... I don't know. Due to Fenris's focus on primarily damage, I'm assuming that we are keeping Navi with us. The purpose is keeping the party alive.
Yes.
I mean, he doesn't have to come with you. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, we'll keep him on the airship.
Yeah, I mean, he'll come with you on the airship regardless. When you get to the dungeons, you can decide if you want to take him along or not.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's usually quite good at keeping things alive. For the record, Jamal's character does have Revivify and a Wand of Cure Wounds. And I think Elle can get people off the
I
ground.
have a healing
as well,
word. Yeah, I can get people off the ground at least.
Cool,
Yeah.
well, there we go.
I got Cure Wounds.
Yeah, and we've got potions. I will say, if you want to stop by Arrenus' potion shop before you leave and buy any potions, you can do so in the week off. That being said, I think that's where we're going to end. So we come to the timeless tradition of Umvups. It has been a while since we treasure at it, but I'll stick my oar in and say that I'm really glad to be back. It's nice. It was fun. I will start where I finished. Jamal.
I really, really loved the fact that you had this guy with Mordekainen's mansion in the middle of this shithole little scavenger town. Who's one of his outposts, and it's just like the entire character is cool, and the idea of giving his like little head modelled after him with the eye and everything. That was a cool character. You really
good.
Yeah, you've done a good job on that one. That was really interesting.
I was looking for art for Sagravia and came past that image, and I was like, that's really cool, but it doesn't suit in Segrava. And I was like, I'm putting it in treasure rats. That's what I do with everything that's cool that I find.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit in another campaign. I'm like, it'll go somewhere in treasure rats, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you liked it. Rico.
I liked the fact that we got to explore like the scavenger towns a little bit. Like so often we either been in a dungeon or sort of in this like wonderful like steampunky cityscape. So it was nice to sort of be in like the sticks and experience.
I wish I
that.
could get art for what's in my head. Like, it's.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys play Fallout, but it's very much like a Fallout-y sort of little town. Do you know, like you come across the ones that are abandoned, like the little shanty towns? Yeah, that's what's in my head, but you can't find that kind of art on the interwebs.
What about the sort of Borderlands type theme of it as well? Is it sort of Borderlands as well?
I mean, I'll keep looking. I don't know. I've never played Borderlands, but
Oh, wow,
yeah.
okay. Fair enough.
But I'm glad that you enjoyed that element of it. There's definitely something I really want to see more of in this campaign. But yeah, it's difficult to translate their imagery to the world, so I hope that came across. Miyago.
The laser pistol. Just getting a laser pistol.
Yes.
And then we just
Can't
kind of
fuck with a
bullied
laser
this guy
pistol.
for something useful until finally you're like, I don't know, maybe he's got a laser pistol, and we're like,
Oh,
sweet,
no, no.
and we just gravitated
Whoa,
to
what?
laser
I
pistol.
knew he had a laser pistol, but I was like, I don't know if he'd sell it because he likes killing people with it. You know, he just kind of likes the fact that it just disintegrates them to all hell. But he's got plenty of guns, so why not? Joe.
Yeah, I mean, some of the same stuff. Obviously, I also liked going to a place in between places because there's so much about like the way the world is supposed to be built, and all this stuff crashing together, and then we're always in the sort of safe spots or the individual dungeons. So that was good. I liked the guy. Yeah, that guy. What's his name? Klein. I liked. I know you just grabbed his art from somewhere, but I like the way that it's sort of like, oh, not just the eye, but the eye and the scar are filled in with gold. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a whole deal.
Sick
yeah,
hat as well.
Crashing the airship's fun.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, so spoiler alert: Jamal knew about this before the campaign began. Before the campaign began, we were like, we're going to give him an airship at some point. And I was like, level 8 sounds about right to me. I was like, I'll foreshadow it through Felix, whatever. And then we got like a level and a half, like crashing to a couple of dungeons in a row, and I was like, this really isn't an appropriate moment to crash an airship. And then Josh was like, I want to drop some treasure rats. And I was like, now that's an appropriate moment to crash an airship. Obviously, I'd said in the preamble to the campaign that I would give you an airship and a base that you can build on. Obviously, the base we're kind of uncertain if we want it anymore. Or at least not that base. We'll have our own base somewhere else. On one of these magnificent mansions. But yeah. I very much am happy that we've got to that stage in the campaign now where it's not, oh, where does Cleo want to go? It's go where the fuck you like. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
There is
really
another
like.
good thing as well, I remember.
Well, I'll have mine first, and then I'm
Sure.
going to let you have another go. I really liked when Miyago was like, "Yeah, you guys and your individualism and whatnot," which amused me. I liked that I called Jamal's character a dog. Miyago immediately followed up with furry one that begins with an F. Yeah, it was just nice with things. And also, when I think it was Rico asked Jamal how he came by this scavenger town, and Jamal proceeded to come out with the most words I have ever heard him say in one go in any session in history. It was great.
What can I say? I could just.
I was like, he's
snip it
thought
out of
about that one. So yeah, no, really real pleasure to be here. Jamal, did you want to add something before we go?
Yeah, actually, it was something in relation as an addition to that. It was Rico's reaction to unspeakable things.
Ah, yes. Unspeakable things. Well, I'm sure that next week we will visit many speakable things. But for now, that is where we'll say goodbye. So if you guys would like to say goodbye,
Bye for now.
it.
Bye bye.
we shall see you soon.